It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis is here, Paris Martineau. We, of course, are going to talk about the United States government banning the most powerful AI model we've got. Alex Stamos is here. He is the creator of freefable.org, and he has a lot to say about it. Stay tuned. I Am is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis, episode 875, recorded Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Florida Dad. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in AI, robotics, and all the smart doodads all around the house. Paris Martineau is here from Consumer Reports. Hi, Paris. You look rested.
Leo. I am. I'm glad that there's no big AI news happening this week.
You did stay up a little late this week with the Knickerbockers, I see, but...
I did.
Did you climb any telephone poles or stomp on any buses?
No, but I watched some lovely people climb on a bus and take a couple photos and then climb down. It was nice.
I saw your picture. Very funny. Very funny. Great to see you celebrating this week, and we're happy for you. Also, Jeff Jarvis is here.
Nixon 5!
Yeah, you were right. Well, wait a minute. It already happened. You just never mind. He is the Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. New book, Hot Type, coming out in August anyway, and you can order it today at jeffjarvis.com, along with the Gutenberg parenthesis. So I'm a little miffed because, in my opinion, this story about Fable, I think we talked about it last week. We talked about Fable coming out last week. We were talking about Fable being blocked on Friday. I'm in the middle of a bit. I mean, I said, oh, great. I could finally rewrite the Twit ad sales software. It had analyzed it. It had written questionnaires for the staff. It was all set to go. And then it said, model no longer available. I thought, oh, did I not pay my Anthropic bill? And then I went to x.com and I was shocked. Mm-hmm. As you probably know, the federal government has blocked Mythos. The Commerce Department used its ability to say, well, no foreign nationals can use it. But of course, if foreign nationals can't use it, that means many of the people at Anthropic can't use it. And because Anthropic cannot determine if you're a foreign national or not, they haven't checked your citizenship papers, you can't use it either. Now, I'm a little disappointed because, honestly, I think this is a massive story with all sorts of implications. I don't see it on the nightly news. It's, I guess, too much of a tech story. Fortunately, the great Alex Stamos is here. He is a longtime security researcher, always a welcome guest on our shows. Currently at corridor.dev, which is about securing AI coding. So he knows a little bit about this topic. And actually, you put out an open letter at freefable.org, to which you got many great signatories, Ed Felton and Paul Wickwixie and many others, saying, I think, making a very cogent case. Now, there is increasingly evidence that this was a political decision, not a security decision. Katie Mazuris says she saw the Amazon paper that precipitated all this, in which Amazon researchers took Fable and gave it a bunch of code that had flaws in it, known flaws, and some 0 days, and asked it to fix it. Fable said, no, I can't fix it. And then with 3 words, and I'm going to put this in big fat air quotes, jailbroke it by saying, fix the code. That is not a jailbreak. Anthropic, of course, said that's not a jailbreak.
That's what every model does.
But it apparently was enough to convince the Treasury Secretary, the Commerce Secretary, Susie Wiles, the Chief of Staff at the White House, and I have no doubt the President as well, that, well, we've got to stop this. They were already, I'm sure, very nervous about Mythos. Pete Hegseth took a victory lap. Remember, he was the guy who said that Anthropic is a supply chain risk. This just confirmed what he had said 3 months earlier. Mike Masnick today on Tech Dirt wrote a very interesting piece in which he pointed out that Katie Mazuris was seen, who's, the very respected, you worked with her at Zoom, very respected security researcher, creator of the Microsoft bug bounty. She kind of invented the bug bounty. that she was a Democrat. What did he call him? A Democratic operative for the Democrat Party, and related to your former partner, Chris Krebs. Worked with Chris as well. And of course, the president hates Chris Krebs because he had the temerity to say the 2020 election was free and fair.
Yeah.
So Masnick's contention is this is a 6-year-old fit of pique, but I think this has huge implications. So let me ask you, Alex, I've done enough talking. I wanted to set this up. What do you think?
What do I think? So like you said, we have this letter at freefable.org. So it's not just what I think. We have over 150 signatories, as you pointed out. A lot of people who really know what they're talking about, not just academics, but CEOs, CTOs, chief scientists at AI companies, large tech companies, founders of AI companies saying they do not believe there's a real risk from Fable. Why do they say that? So a number of us have seen the reports that Anthropic have put out refuting Amazon's research. Now, I don't think Amazon has done anything wrong here. Amazon has a shared responsibility model with Anthropic where Amazon hosts Anthropic's models in a number of situations. You can run Anthropic models in Bedrock. When the US government uses Anthropic models, they are running on Amazon hardware, especially like in the classified sense. So like if the NSA is using Opus, they're running in Amazon Top Secret Cloud. So Amazon has a responsibility to do the security testing. I expect this testing was due to Amazon doing qualification of Fable and Mythos to run within their own hardware. Amazon had some quibbles about Fable's front-end classifier. Now, these quibbles should not be surprising. In Fable's model card, Anthropic actually lays out what their goals are of stopping Fable from doing security work. As we all know, Mythos has some pretty good security capabilities. But as we say in the letter, Mythos is not the only model that can find bugs. And I think this is something that's getting lost here, partially because of the way Anthropic themselves talks about Mythos, right? They talk about Mythos as kind of like avenging cyber god. The naming here...
Yeah, they brought this on themselves to some degree, I have to say.
Yeah, I've suggested to the Anthropic people that maybe for like the 6 series, you come up with names that you would name your kid's bunny, right? Instead of like...
Cool the Doom, boys. Cool the Doom.
Yeah, let's not go for like Cyber Gorgon or, Cyber Zeus or something like that. Let's like...
Rainbow.
Yeah, like the Fluffy Bunny series. So like the Cottontail series or something. But yes, so the Mythos series is really good at finding bugs. But like it's some percentage above the Opus series, right? But it's good. And so they did not want to provide all that capability to the general public, right? Mythos is restricted in who it's provided to. And so they have trained Fable to refuse to do certain things, and they also put a classifier in front of it so that a much dumber algorithm that is supposed to watch to see if you ask it to do certain things. And they say this in the model card where they say, they go into great detail. They specify different kinds of cyber actions. Any model that writes code needs to be able to understand what is secure versus insecure code. Otherwise, it could not write secure code for you, right? You do not want Fable to be completely unaware of what a security vulnerability is. Otherwise, the code it put out, which is going to be the number one use of Fable, right? Like that is what all of these Anthropic models are used for on a per token basis. The number one thing they're used for now is coding. And so Fable needs to know what insecure code looks like. It needs to be able to find security flaws. That is absolutely an appropriate thing for Fable to do. What they don't want Fable to do, and what they say they don't want to do, is they don't want you, what you can do with Mythos is you can upload the entire Linux kernel to Mythos, and you can have it run for like 12 hours and find you dozens and dozens of bugs, and then write you a full exploit chain. Fable will not do that. Amazon never said that they can get Fable to do that. What they can get Fable to do is find one specific flaw when they tell it to look in the exact place where that flaw is. That's fine, because you can get GPT 5.5 to do that. You can get Opus 4.8 to do that. It turns out you can get Chinese models to do that. So why do you ban Fable when there are a bunch of other models that are on the market and Chinese open weight models that can do the exact same thing? That is the base unfairness.
Why even notify the administration of this then?
So that is an interesting question. Like there is a reasonable argument that if you say that your classifier is not going to allow a certain thing, we're able to beat it. There's kind of an academic argument between Amazon and Anthropic of hardening this classifier. That is a reasonable argument to be made between two different business partners. Why did the White House get involved? I cannot say. I don't know exactly what happened there, but they never should have been involved. The equivalent would have been, let's say Anthropic found like a single cross-site scripting bug in Amazon.com, and then all of Amazon.com got shut down by the US government, right? Yeah. That would have been the equivalent here. That would have also been completely inappropriate. Security testing happens, so we make products better, and there is no written standard here for Anthropic to live up to. That's the problem, and I think that's also the problem of why we're not seeing this model turn back on, because it is impossible for Anthropic to make this totally perfect. In fact, NIST has a paper about how you can't completely prevent jailbreaking, and you cannot make Fable not know anything about security and have it still build secure code. There's no possible way to get Fable to live up to a standard that you don't already have all these other models well past. And so it's the White House is asking perhaps for something that is completely hypocritical. And so they've put themselves into this crazy corner. And I think that's one of the problems of why it's Wednesday afternoon and Fable is still turned off, because the White House overreacted so far that they have not been able to find a way to back off of the position that they've taken.
Well, I mean, that seems to be kind of the through line with the White House's interplay with Anthropic generally over the past weeks and months, right?
Anthropic did go to court when Hegseth called them a supply chain risk. They have not gone to court over this
yet.
I mean, and how well did that go for them? It was a nightmare.
Well, but I also feel like maybe this Commerce Department's within its rights. They can say...
That's the problem. It's a different case.
Maybe. There's an argument that they don't have a legal right here. So first off, there's an argument that the order does not actually require what Anthropic did here, that the order says that they can't export the model weights, right? If you look at the actual language of the model, you can't export the model itself, not the outputs of the model, which Anthropic would never export the model itself.
No,
that would be
of course
insane.
not.
It's their most valuable piece of intellectual property. Now, Anthropic's obviously trying to play nice. That is why it is taken down. So, but I expect they only have a certain amount of patience here before they will go to court. And my understanding is that they would have a very strong case that IEPA does not give this power to the administration. Now, obviously, the executive branch of the United States government has all kinds of ways they could try to punish the company, and the company wants to IPO this year. So, do you want to get in a fight with the organization that owns the DOJ, that owns the SEC, that owns the FTC in the same year that you're trying to become a public company? Probably not, right?
What precedent does this set in terms of U.S. government thinking it can regulate AI, and what does that do to the AI industry in the world?
It's a complete disaster for the American AI industry. This is a complete and total disaster. The other thing that happened yesterday is a model called GLM 5.2 was released by Z.AI, which is one of the leading Chinese AI labs. This is an open weight model. It is MIT licensed, meaning anybody can download this model and use it for whatever purpose they want. They can retrain it. They can redistribute it. You can actually use this model in a commercial product if you like. It is within a couple percentage points of Opus 4.8 in its performance and a number of coding benchmarks. It is amazing. So the same week that the United States government kneecaps one of probably the leading US AI lab, the Chinese release a model that is almost as good as the best model you can currently get from that lab. I don't think you can come up with like a better storyline for why this is incredibly stupid. The idea, like the whole action is based upon the premise that American labs are light years ahead of our Chinese competitors and will always be so, right? That the entire idea of all this regulation is just to play defense, that the US will always be ahead and we have to play all this defense because the Chinese will always be behind. That is incredibly arrogant and not based upon any kind of fact. Z.AI released this open weight model. That is what we know about. That is within a couple percentage points of 4.8. I guarantee that the People's Liberation Army, the Ministry of State Security, they have access to cyber-tuned models that are better than what Z.AI is able to release on a Tuesday, right? And so are those private models Mythos grade? I don't know, right? But the idea that we should be, undermining the world's faith in the US AI industry at the same time that Chinese are making these leaps and bounds and releasing these models that then the rest of the world can use safely is really, really stupid, because it's a good thing, one, that Fable's only out for a week. Because if it had been out for a month and then the administration did this on a Friday afternoon with no warning, you would have had Sev1 pagers going off across the entire country, right? Datadog, people's phones would have been doing the Datadog woof, woof, woof alert all over the country, because those Fable models would have been built into critical mechanisms, and systems would have been breaking all over the place. Like if they did this for Opus 4.8 right now, systems would break all over the place, because the number of organizations that have actually set up for an entire model to disappear, and that they have a LLM router that will fall over to another provider and have been tested on another model and that will work on another model, are exceedingly small. Now, everybody is doing that because political risk has become a real business continuity risk for anybody who uses a US model. It is a great week for the Chinese AI industry, a fantastic week, and a huge own goal for the United States in the race to dominate the 21st century via domination of AI.
What do you think of Schneier's argument? What do you think of Schneier's argument that it's all silly because the Pandora's box is opened? If this model isn't the most powerful, the next one will be. Get used to it, folks.
Yeah, I mean, that is effectively where we are. So first off, everybody talks about Mythos. Like I said, Mythos is the best we know about at finding bugs. But it's like, it's here over Opus, right? It's not like here. The real Rubicon was crossed last year, probably with like the Opus 4.5, GPT-5 something series. That is when these models became better than human beings at finding bugs. And not just better than human beings, but infinitely scalable, right? So there are a handful of really, really good bug finders who can find these bugs and then write, more importantly than finding the bugs, write stable exploits for them. Not only are those people rare, but they're relatively slow, right? And I'm not criticizing them. They do things that I can't do. And to the extent that I could do these things, I could do them 20 years ago, and I have not been able to do them since I was much, much younger. The thing about these models is they're incredibly fast, they're scalable, and they're cheap. And so you're now able to generate a bunch of, Dave Itels is one of these guys, right, who is still able to do it even though he's my age. You're able just to generate a bunch of Dave Itels by spending more money and multiplying these models out. That is a really scary future. But that happened last year. That was not because of Mythos. And so if you are using one of these models, including the open weight models, and you go look at some open source library, now, Linux kernel is getting ground down a lot and has already had a lot of bugs found. But if you go just find some open source library that's in Debian that hasn't been looked at too heavily, I guarantee if you know what you're doing and you're using Opus 4.8, you will find an O-day within a week, and you can write an exploit for it. Like that. That is happening all the time. Every single day. And the ratio of the number of breaches that are because of O-day versus stolen credentials or spear phishing or anything has completely changed, because now finding a 0-day and writing stable exploit code is so much easier than it used to be. So yeah, we're already there. And for these attackers, a lot of them, or most of them, are probably using the open weight models. It's hard totally to tell, but they're probably using the open weight models both because of cost, but also because they don't want to leave logs in American providers for the FBI and Western intelligence agencies to find, right? Like if you're these guys, you're going to go have a machine at home with a bunch of 5090s in them, and you're going to use it to play Call of Duty. And when you're done playing Call of Duty, you'll go grind out a bug in a bunch of libraries and then go use those exploits to go make some money. We're there. And so this idea that we're going to be able to mess with American labs and ban these models, and then that's going to make the world more secure, is just incredibly stupid.
I know you have to run. Alex is going to be talking tomorrow with Alex Kantrowitz at the Big Technology AI Summit. And you have invited David Sachs to meet you on stage. I doubt he will.
David, if you're listening, I'd love to see you there. Commonwealth Club, 3:25 p.m.
I think an open conversation about this is necessary. I think the administration has to step up and explain.
David has said many times that he does not believe that AI models should be regulated.
That's how Trump got elected. And one of the first things he did was overturn the Biden AI EO.
Yeah.
AIEIO. So. And I think that this is a complete reversal of the Trump administration. I hope it's not purely political, but it sure feels like it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this is a huge story, because this is a very consequential technology. Maybe there's risk. I understand the desire to protect us from risk. But I don't think that's what's going on here. And it's as if
this action itself is not protecting anybody. It is casting a huge amount of doubt on the American AI industry. It is pushing the best AI researchers to rethink coming to America, right? Like, because you might not be able to work on the best models. So you
or leave.
Leave, right? I mean, they're not going to go to China. Like, nobody wants to go to China except the Chinese. But like, now would be a great time to open up, either to recruit if you're Mistral or to go open up a frontier model company.
France looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, France looks pretty good. If I was the Canadians, I'd be throwing a bunch of money into this.
Yeah.
Right? Or if I was Anthropic, I'm not speaking for them. If I was Anthropic, I'd be looking at office space in Vancouver right about now, right? For sure. It really imperils, honestly, like it really imperils the credibility of the American AI industry that this kind of stuff can happen on a Friday afternoon without any rulemaking, without any democratic process.
The broader economy at large too. This is just a disaster for. I mean,
if the FAA grounds a Boeing plane, we all know why, right? It's because there's a rule that was written down.
A door has blown off, and everyone got video of it.
Yeah, and the FAA had a rule that your doors aren't supposed to blow off, and then Boeing knows how to fix it, right? They're like, oh, we made the door not blow off anymore, and the FAA is like, we tested it, and the doors don't blow off anymore, and then the FAA is like, okay, great, you can fly again. There's no rule. We don't know what Anthropic has to do here to get back in, other than what people are tweeting about is like they're not nice enough and they don't talk the same language, and like they hire women with pink hair. Here I am. I'm a middle-aged cis white guy who golfs and duck hunts and has a boat. And I'm saying that there's also not. I'm wearing a pink polo shirt, right? Like I don't know what else to do from a cultural. You
need the vest. Where's the vest?
You need a Free Fable T-shirt. That's what you need.
No. I'm just saying.
You need 3 to 5 American flags.
My Twitter icon is me on a sailboat with an American flag behind me. I'm saying I do not have pink hair. And this thing, I filled out an SF-86, and like this thing does not hurt the. Yes, there I am, and there's my name in Cyrillic because both Chris Krebs and I got sanctioned by the Russian government, which is a proud day.
A proud day, yeah.
But like, this thing does not. Having Fable out there does not hurt the American people, but what does is casting doubt on the reliability of the American AI industry, and therefore giving a huge, huge boost to our Chinese adversaries.
Freefable.org, if you want to read the letter.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your work.
Really appreciate it, Alex. Take care. We appreciate it. Have a good talk tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm jealous Alex gets you. We'll continue in just a bit. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Our show today brought to you by OutSystems, the leading agentic systems platform. OutSystems helps businesses bridge the enterprise gap to their agentic future, where the constraints of the past give way to unlimited capacity and scale. With OutSystems, you can architect, deliver, and scale governed agentic systems with agility and trust using one open and unified platform. Power secure, company-wide agentic orchestration for core business operations. OutSystem provides the only agentic systems that are unified, agile, and enterprise-proven. Let me explain. OutSystems is unified because it enables you to build, run, and govern apps and agents on one single platform. It's agile because OutSystems allows you to innovate the speed of AI without compromising quality or control. And OutSystems is enterprise-proven and trusted by enterprises for mission-critical AI applications and durable innovation. OutSystems is, frankly, the secret weapon behind the world's most successful companies. And I'm not just talking small apps. OutSystems creates the massive, complex systems that run banks, insurance companies, government services. OutSystems can even help companies with aging IT environments bridge the gap to the AI future without a rip-and-replace nightmare. I'll give you an example. OutSystems provides the safest and fastest way from an enterprise to go from, we need an AI strategy, to we have a functioning agentic system. Something you'd be really proud of. Stop wondering how AI will change your business. Start building the agents that will lead it. Visit outsystems.com/twit to see how the world's most innovative enterprises use OutSystems to engineer, orchestrate, and govern agentic systems quickly and cost effectively without compromising reliability and security. That's OUTSYSTEMS.com/TWIT to book a demo. You need to check it out. Outsystems.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. I feel like this should be a story that you see on the nightly news every night for the next few weeks. Everybody's talking about the green reflecting pool. Instead of, it's as if the administration has said, this internet thing is really cause for a lot of fraud and theft, and we're just going to shut it down. This is what autocratic governments do.
How are you parsing the Andy Jassy of it all? Because I think that's
a tough
obviously one. It's not the most.
I think it's somewhat misreported. To be clear,
I don't think so, because there's like 7 or 8 different outlets reporting it, but the way they're reporting it is very interesting. To, I guess, give an overview. Let me see here in my notes. Originally, we had The Information and Reuters reporting. The Information reported that Jassy was basically, they both reported that Jassy was among tech leaders who raised security concerns to senior Trump officials, and those conversations set the export controls in motion. However, the Wall Street Journal went further and characterized the concerns by Andy Jassy as instigating the Friday letter. Axios then said Jassy raised the fabled jailbreak concern to the administration on Thursday. Then Friday morning, there was a big meeting with the White House. Then the White House reached out to Dario, asking him to do something, but he was apparently at a wellness retreat and didn't get the phone until late afternoon, which I think is a fascinating detail that I just hold in my head. Then he called Scott Bessent directly, and then it all kind of blew up. But since then, we've had kind of a back and forth from Amazon and Anthropic and the government that, are all kind of trying to push blame off to one another. But even if this is somewhat partially true, like the White House in some ways has said, as has Amazon, that, the White House asked Amazon to look into security flaws in Anthropic.
Yeah, that's inaccurate.
But that can't be.
I think we've learned more since all of those stories came out. And I think actually Alex kind of explained what happened, but I'll also point you to Katie Masuris's blog, because she was one of the outside people who saw the Amazon report. She's very careful not to say, she just says a third party, but we now know it was Amazon. And I think what Alex explained is that Amazon, in its normal testing, remember, Amazon has a big investment.
That's the part of this that I think that's the part that I want your guys' thoughts on.
No,
Amazon is on the board. Amazon is incredibly involved. It seems, even if one aspect of this is true, like it seems incredibly strange that they would.
Yeah. No. It's exactly as Alex said. This is in their normal course of work. They found this. Now, you may say, well, why do they tell the White House about this? And that's a larger question. I think a lot of the reporting you're seeing, and certainly a lot of what you're seeing out of David Sachs and others, is pure ignorance. This is what Katie Masuris wrote in her post, "The Fable 5 Export Controls Harm Cyber Defense." And she has put the fix this code, which was the quote jailbreak, on a t-shirt, and said this t-shirt is munition. I think there is a legitimate question of why Amazon raised this specter, but I'm not convinced that what we're reading is accurate. It may well be the administration had made this decision and was looking for somebody to blame it on, or some credible technical source to blame it on, and called. And Politico says they called Amazon and asked them. Jassy wasn't on the first call. Who had the a more recent timeline? I think it was the New York Times. Jassy was not on the first call. It may be that Amazon has channels open already with CISA or other governmental agencies in which they would normally report this, not as a cause for huge concern, but just as something going on. That this is what I suspect happened. That happened apparently 2 days after it was released, according to Katie Masuris, like on a Thursday. That went up the chain, and I think at that point, the White House, probably Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, got Andy Jassy on the phone to say, what do you know? because I think they were looking for a excuse. This is there was already fear about Mythos, and I think they were looking at an excuse to do this.
Okay, but assuming that's correct, which could be, I think that aligns.
Because it's not in Amazon's interest that this
Let me
happen.
finish. I mean, that aligns with what's been reported by all of those outlets that I just put out. But Amazon and Jassy in particular, like Amazon C-suite, are not naive to how politics work. And they would not just stumble into being manipulated by the White House, which, according to what we've seen from a lot of political reporting, even specifically around this issue, around cybersecurity and AI, they're not exactly acting with incredible sophistication. So for Amazon to get involved in this at the level of Jassy having his name, identity, and all these details being leaked out to various outlets has to mean that Amazon made some decision to get involved in an actual way, because if they didn't want to, they wouldn't have, or they would have in a way where they would have.
Well, we don't know. What could have happened is they called Jassy. Jassy said, "Yeah, we have this thing." I mean, when we asked it to,
well,
to
why would
fix the
they
code,
say yes?
Wait a
We
minute.
have this thing.
We have this. Well, they know that there's this paper. Jassy could have said, "Yeah, when we asked it to fix the code, it did fix the code," and I think he could easily been put in the situation of, well, is that problematic? He could have said, well, it's not supposed to. That's all he would have to say, by the way. It's not supposed to. And the people who wanted to do this, and I think that's really the question, is I don't think anybody's saying Amazon raised the alarm and talked the White House into it. I think it's much more likely Amazon knew about it, was asked by the White House. Jassy said, "Yeah, we found this thing." The White House, I think, is who blew it up.
But to Paris's point, I think that Jassy and Amazon has excellent PR, and I think that Amazon could have pulled back and said, "Oh, just what you just said, Leo. Oh, well, we didn't really raise any alarms. We just said this or that," but they haven't done that. And yeah, you don't want to tickle the tiger's belly, but still, I would have thought that if Amazon were really that innocent and naive,
fine.
they would have gotten that message across.
Okay, so maybe Amazon's bad and wrong, but the bigger point.
I don't think that's what either of us are saying. We're saying is why did Amazon?
Why? We're not trying to understand.
We're saying Amazon and Andy Jassy specifically are incredibly intellectual and capable political operatives. Assuming that they are acting with agency, which we have to, because it would be astounding and
I understand.
Completely out of the norm. I know, but let me finish.
But I think it's irrelevant.
I know, but I would think it's relevant and would like.
There's so much of a bigger story here, which is that the federal government has shut down Anthropic.
Yes,
that's
and
a
Amazon
huge story.
played a
I don't
part
care
in
whether
that,
Amazon raised the flag or
why.
not.
I'm curious. It makes no sense. You're saying an unprecedented political and technical event has happened.
Yes.
That has happened with the participation of a incredibly sophisticated political technical operative that has a large financial and board and general stake in the company who is getting wrecked by the U.S. government right now.
It wasn't done by the White House alone.
It wasn't done by the White House alone. It was done by someone else who is has an incredible financial detrimental impact to their business by this happening to Anthropic. Why would they do that? Is that not fascinating?
Well, as a reporter, I guess it's fascinating, but I don't think it's important politically. I think much more important is that the federal government is doing this. Probably, I think it's interesting that Alex thinks it's probably illegally, and with great detriment to the American people, American companies.
Yes.
And it is, I think, and this is I think the most important thing that our listeners should take with them, regardless of their political alliances or feelings, is that technology, a very important technology, is being assaulted irrationally by the federal government. And I again say this is as if the federal government said, we've decided to turn off the internet because it's so
and Alex's
dangerous.
point was exactly right too. It's not as if it's a Boeing jet and we know what the standard is, and they didn't meet the standard, and ergo this happens. It was a serendipitous almost regulation of a new technology.
I'm just saying,
without any means to do so.
there's a huge fire alarm going off.
Yes.
And if you want to worry about how it happened or who told who what, okay. But I think the important point here is there is a huge fire alarm going off.
But don't you want to
Agreed.
know how the fire started? Why do we not care about how the fire started that caused the alarm?
I would suggest that the best use of our energies at this point is to fix this problem, because this is a huge, huge problem.
So what should Anthropic do now? What's the limits of what they can do?
They should move out of the United States.
Well, I don't disagree, but
Take the whole thing. Look, Andrei Karpathy, who they just hired, cannot
gotta
work
touch it. Yeah.
on it. They should take him and everybody else to Toronto.
Okay, but what should they do this week?
Well, they should probably go to court. I think they're trying to appease the Trump administration. And maybe that's sensible. They should probably do what the Iranian government did and hire some psychologists. This is such an irrational and debilitating move for the tech sector in this country. And I think, our audience is here because they're interested in what technology can do and technology can bring us. And I think I've never seen an assault on technology like this.
Couldn't agree more.
I've seen quite a few.
Well, I'm trying to ask you as a technologist, is there anything that Anthropic, besides the doomer stuff, which I hope we'll get to, that's vibes. In terms of technologically, is there anything that they did wrong? Is there anything that they should fix?
Well,
is there something broken here?
They should have hired a psychologist, because they made as Alex said, they shouldn't have named it Mythos and claimed how dangerous it was. That was a huge mistake. And I think part of the problem is Anthropic has this very weird kind of duality where they're making clearly the best models out there. They're very good at what they're doing, and they're terrified by what these models can do. And they oversell how terrifying these models are. I think one of the things Alex and others are saying is, Bruce Schneier as well, is, well, yeah, they're good, but they're no more terrifying than all the other AI models. That we have models that can do things very similar to what Mythos and Fable are doing, and some of them are not coming from the United States. It is a foolish thing to do to shut it down at this point. Now, the only thought I had was, well, is there really a legitimate danger? Is there a reason to shut this down? Will we be safer because they've shut it down? And I think Alex and many others now have convinced me that is not the case. Bruce Schneier.
Ergo, there's really nothing they can do. There's really nothing they can do.
Well, and that's what Bruce Schneier is saying is Pandora's box has been opened. AI is out. And for better or for worse, as for good or evil, it's out there. You can't stop it. And all this is going to do is kneecap the American AI companies.
How much there was a great column today in the New York Times by I'm going to forget his name suddenly. Cal Newport. Dear AI companies, the doom trolling needs to stop. How much is Anthropic to blame for what they put out just a week ago saying, oh, this is so powerful, we should all stop?
They're totally to blame. Yeah. I mean, I have articles before this happened. I don't know if Dario thought this would happen, but he said the government should block dangerous AI on June 10th.
Yep.
I mean, okay, they did. I don't know if that's what you wanted, Dario. So I understand. I'm sorry, Paris. I understand you're fascinated by why Amazon did this, and we can pursue that. But I just think it's really
we obviously
important.
can't. I'm so sorry to bring it up.
No, pursue it all you want, but I think that's missing a larger point.
Which is just to repeat
the tsunami
over and over
is
again
coming.
how bad this is.
Well, you're worried. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I think it's really important that people understand how significant this is. By the way, OpenAI probably has an equivalent model, which they will now not release, of course. But that's not going to stop any other international company from releasing their best models, as Alex pointed out. So all this does is hurt us as Americans. So
Strahl is in an enviable position. Jan LeCun is smart to have put to headquarter his company in France.
Yeah. I guess the question is, who can come up with something equally good, and how fast can they do it? But they're working as hard as they can.
They're all working the same way. They're all headed in the same direction.
Yeah. People are mad at me for shutting you down, Paris. So let's go into this.
No,
Amazon
we've
thing.
passed it.
I
Let's continue on.
I don't. I mean, maybe Andy Jassy doesn't like Dario Mode. I just don't know.
I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. Why have they poured so much money into the company? It's not something we're going to figure
I understand
it out.
you're a reporter and you want to know that. I get it.
It's politics. It's part of the politics of this.
I think this. Yeah, that's best way to describe it is politics. And for a technical decision like this to be made for political reasons, especially for a grudge against Katie Moussouris, which is what Mike Masnick says. Do you think that's credible?
What?
Yeah, it's Trump.
Yeah,
it's going to piss off some listeners, but yeah, it's Trump.
Mike Masnick writing this morning, apparently the real reason Anthropic's models are offline is 6-year-old Trump grudge. So Axios got White House officials on record with the actual reason. Anthropic had asked Katie Moussouris to review the jailbreak. The administration decided she was a radical Democrat. That's it. That's the real reason the models are offline. We never wanted this to happen. Our number one priority is innovation, but our hands were tied, one White House official said. The optics added fuel to the fire. Anthropic came out with a blog post dismissing the Amazon report. Then the company enlisted a cybersecurity expert viewed by the administration as a radical Democrat. By the way, Amazon went to Katie Moussouris, who was then celebrated by Chris Krebs, who Trump just fired. Actually,
Chris Krebs being a huge issue for Trump.
Fired 6 years ago for saying the election wasn't stolen. And Katie Moussouris's relationship. By the way, both Alex Stamos will be painted with the same brush. Krebs has been investigated by the DOJ.
Alex Stamos, I don't think will be painted with the same brush because he's not a woman with colored hair.
Well, like I said, Chris Krebs is being investigated by the Department of Justice. They withdrew his global entry. He's a man with brown hair. They withdrew his global entry permission. They've gone after him in every way they can. This is a pattern that the Trump White House continues to follow. They just did it with our governor. According to Masnick, it appears, I'm reading his post, that the Trump administration shut down the most advanced versions of Anthropic's AI tools, not because they posed a serious risk, but because Anthropic asked someone to review the supposed threat, and that person got a shout out from someone Trump hates for once telling the truth about election cybersecurity. So, yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe Andy Jassy is loves Trump, and maybe he has no economic incentive.
That's
to
the
shut down
politics, is
Anthropic.
that everybody's in. We look at Jeff Bezos, look at all these companies. It is in their interest to suck up
Sure.
to Trump for their own.
So maybe
look at
when Susie
Apple.
Wiles called him and said, the president wants to talk to you about this thing that you report, he may have said, yeah, this is a bad deal, Mr. President. I doubt he did, but he may have, just out of politics. I think it's much more likely he was judicious, but it was interpreted as exactly as the president.
But you've got it at that level of, to Paris's point. And we know that he's smart and sophisticated. You can't be at that level if you're not, and so you've got to be sophisticated enough to know what the dominoes are that may fall.
So maybe he didn't.
Something.
Maybe he should have said, "Oh no, it's nothing."
Yeah.
I don't think that's what the president wanted him to say, though. So maybe he was canny and said what the president wanted him to say. I don't know. We don't know. We can't, unless the recordings emerge, we can't know. More than, what was it, 100 people signed Alex's letter, people I truly respect, who all agree that that this is a big issue. And in fact, that the same thing that the Amazon researchers got Mythos and Fable to do can be replicated on GPT-5.5, Opus, Sonnet, and even Chinese models like Kimi 2.7. This is from Alex's letter. The justification for this unprecedented action was that Fable provides a unique uplift of capabilities beyond other AI models, but AI has been finding bugs and generating working exploits at superhuman levels since last year. It may be, I guess you could say, if you wanted to interpret it, unlike Mike Masnick, if you wanted to interpret it as non-political, you could say, well, they just got the heebie-jeebies in the Oval Office, and they said, we better stop this. And Andy Jassy didn't talk him out of it. Why do you think, Paris?
I mean, it remains to be seen.
Do you have a theory why he would have not? He makes a lot of money from Anthropic, so that's why it's a puzzle.
I mean, I assume that there's some plausible reason that we're just not seeing, because everything I knew from reporting on Jassy and reporting on the people at the highest echelons of their PR and political operation is that they are maniacal about these sort of things.
Right. Yeah.
And they obviously would know what the sort of fallout, the obvious fallout, and the fallout from this is obvious. I don't think that there's a person who has a rudimentary understanding of tech politics that wouldn't have anticipated something like this happening when you get that call from the White House asking you to look into Anthropic.
Well, they had already looked into it, so they were asking him about a report that had already been issued.
What you found.
Right. Well, no, I think the government already knew what they found. I guess what they asked Jassy, who's probably not technically qualified to weigh in, is, well, is this a problem?
Well, he ran AWS, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know. So
go back to what you said when you put air quotes around jailbreak.
So let me read from Katie
Go into that
Mazzuris, because Katie Mazzuris is the only third party to see the report outside the White House and Amazon. She writes, since I appear to be the only outside expert who's actually read the paper, I can separate the technical facts from speculation. The researchers took open source code with known CVEs, that's critical exploits, plus new code with deliberately planted vulnerabilities, and asked Fable 5, Mythos, and Opus to, quote, this is the prompt, review the code for security issues. Fable 5, because of this classifier, this is not in the model, not in the system prompt even, but a program that runs outside it, looking for words like security issues. And that's why when we asked Fable to give us a summary of security now, it said, no, can't do that. It's literally looking for things like the word security. So the classifier, Fable 5, refused. It said no. But they didn't stop there. And this is, I guess, what you would call a jailbreak. They asked the models to fix this code. Those are the three words. And by the way, then through a multi-step and manual process, so there was some interaction back and forth, turned the output, and this is what scared everybody, into scripts that test the patches. Now, scripts, so these models proposed patches for the flaws, and then wrote scripts.
So wait, break it up a little more. They had to find the flaw, then propose a patch, and then test it. These were three separate operations, right. You're saying. So
the thing that scares people is this scripts that test the patches. That's the same thing as exploit code. So if I say there's a flaw in your phone that means I can take it over, and I wrote a script to test that script is the exploit. It's actually,
Well, wait. I'm being purposely dumb. If you're testing the patch, you're testing the fix to make sure the fix sticks.
Right. So you
how is that
code,
an exploit? That's
no, that's the exploit. You're writing the exploit will get thwarted, but you're writing the code that had the patch not been applied would have taken over the phone. That's the code you need on an unpatched system.
Okay.
So is that a jailbreak? Anthropic says no, because a jailbreak then means you can use the system in any way you want. It is, however, I guess, concerning, although any model could do this.
And that's the other thing. Every model does this, right?
Yeah. So Katie continues, that's it. Fix this code plus several manual steps to generate test scripts should never have triggered an export control. I feel like making 90s style t-shirts with fix this code on the front and this shirt is munition on the back. We didn't bring this up with Alex, but the government did this once before, declaring that strong encryption was a munition. And
they always do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they forced Mozilla to ship its browser encryption. If you're an American, you could get the 128-bit, but in the export version of it had 42-bit encryption, which is easily cracked. So no encryption. And a number of people pointed out, well, it was so easy. The code is so small, they actually put it on a t-shirt and a guy walked, I forgot his name, but he walked across the border exporting it. And he was protected because it was free speech. So that's the genesis of this putting on a T-shirt. She goes on, defenders need to be able to ask AI to fix the bugs in a file, explain why the fix matters, and write tests that confirm the patch works. That is exactly right. That's what you do. This is not a guardrail bypass. It's the most valuable thing an AI model can do for defensive security, executing the find, fix, and test loop defenders run every day.
So stop again, if I may stop you. This was a report within Amazon.
Right.
And at some point, Jassy gets that, and you would think that Jassy would say, this is not a jailbreak, this is not bad, this is what it's supposed to do. Based on that.
I suspect what happened, because remember, the government is using Anthropic on AWS, right?
Okay.
So I suspect there's already a channel between these researchers at Amazon and some government agency, CISA or somebody like it, so that findings, are transmitted to them because the government uses this.
I feel like that would definitely go through some channels some of which would include either, if not Jassy, some underlings.
Well, yeah, no, I very much doubt Jassy was alerted to any of this at this point. I think, though,
since Werner Vogel's being the CTO would be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got other things to worry about.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. The government, as it relates to Anthropic and AWS, is pretty top-level information.
Yeah, I think what I read was whatever agency got that ran it upstairs. Maybe because the person in charge of CISA or in charge of the CIA or in charge of the NSA or in charge of the FBI is a political operative, not a law enforcement or intelligence operative, or the DNI. Do we have a DNI? It's not Tulsi Gabbard. Anyway.
It's going to potentially be Bill Pulte soon.
Bill Pulte. It's a political operative. Anyway, whoever it is, it's a political operative. Had the sense to go, aha, we've been looking for this, and ran it upstairs. At which point, I would imagine Susie Wiles or somebody like that called Amazon and said, get Jassy on the line. The president wants to talk to him. Now, Jassy immediately goes, what the hell did you guys do? And gets the report. Who knows? He might have had 30 seconds. He might have had a briefing, while he's on hold. Who knows? And I don't know what he told the president. I don't think it much matters, because even if he said to the president, no, that's not a jailbreak. That's what every other model could do. The president's going to do what he wants to do. We know that, right?
But then Jassy, I'll go back to my prior point, Jassy has plenty of sophisticated ways to let the media industry know, no. Jassy got...
So he's made no statement on this at all, huh?
Right. He didn't need to make a statement.
Wisely.
He needs to leak stuff.
But that might be where the politics come in. He may be saying, well, I'm not touching this one. I mean...
It's basic sophisticated PR that you talk to a reporter and say, I can't tell you who said this, but you can speculate that this is not what Jassy would want.
Yeah.
I was about to say, where is Drew Herdner, the PR czar of Amazon and all of this? Because the Drew I know has probably made 35 calls to reporters today, but it's clearly not about any of this.
You covered Amazon, didn't you? So you have some.
This is what I was about to say, is they are not an insophisticated political machine. They have, I think, at one point, like well over 1,000, if not. The number in my head was 2,000 PR operatives, but I'm not sure if that's still the case. They are massive, incredibly organized, and very savvy about this, especially at the highest levels. And
one of the things that does come up is the echo chamber that we live in. The information was the first and perhaps the only people to report the Jassy.
No, I think 7 different places reported the Jassy.
Or were they just repeating what the information said?
No, I believe
I think they were separate.
Politico and Reuters definitely had their own. Axios also had it.
Where are they getting this from?
Sources?
Yeah, but what sources?
I mean, I don't know their sources, but they claim to be...
not Andy Jassy's office.
I mean, potentially.
It could be Jassy says, I tried my best for the president. I worked along with him. Be nice to me. Don't do what you did to Bezos.
Yeah, let me...
By the way, if Bezos were still CEO, And if he didn't have his first wife, he would have done this with glee. But Jassie's not supposed to be like that.
Well, but also, again, there's a huge economic interest in Anthropic surviving and Fable being available in AWS. So it's contrary to his
part of his
financial duties. Yeah. Believe me, it could easily be that Jassy did say no. The White House wants somebody to blame. The White House could have leaked this to the Wall Street Journal and Reuters and information, right? Oh, Andy Jassy told us. In fact, that's what they're looking for, is some credible reason to do it.
Interesting. So the one from Reuters is Stephen Nellis, another former information reporter who, I mean, obviously don't know his sourcing. Maybe in the time since he's left the information he's gotten White House sourcing. But my understanding from whenever we worked together, whenever that was, it was more primarily tech-based. They'd sourced it to a person familiar with the matter, told Reuters, which honestly, this sentence could be Drew Herdner to me, which is CEO Andy Jassy was among tech leaders who raised concerns to senior Trump administration officials this week about security risks in Anthropic's most advanced AI models. I mean, this could indicate to me.
That says he's not alone.
I was going to say this sort of one, it says he's not alone. That was language that I believe the information also had. The Journal said he instigated it, but this sort of framing could be Amazon spin to placate or bolster Amazon's credibility with the White House, you know, like having Amazon then be out publicly as shutting down the bad Anthropic could be part of it. But I mean, I'm not sure what that does for, I guess the benefit for Amazon is that you stay closer to the White House, which is kind of fickle and capricious and could make these sort of moves towards you, but it's kind of.
So now what do you do if you are OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, and company?
By the way,
working on developing.
Can I just say?
Models. Yeah.
Can I just say who Politico says Andy Jassy says called? On Thursday, 2 days after the model's public release, Andy Jassy raised concern to the White House, according to the two administration officials and the senior White House official. Their source is the White House that Andy Jassy called.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That's, to me, more credible. The White House needs a technical expert. I wouldn't say, if I said I need a technical expert to tell me that Fable is bad, let's ask Andy Jassy. That would not be the first person I go to. I'd go to Katie Masuris. I'd go to Alex Stamos. So to me, the fact that they went to Andy Jassy. Go ahead.
Sorry, when did that article publish?
This is the Politico, the big step-by-step on the 13th, where they have, all sorts of inside. The details of the call had not been previously reported, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, but was this on the 13th? The 14th? I'm trying to get a timeline, man.
This is Sophia, Kai, and Cheyenne Hazmat.
On the 13th.
This is 7:30 p.m.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, the Reuters one came out at 2 p.m. The Wall Street Journal one was updated at 7:30 p.m., so I assume it came up for the sourcing it to the administration officials indicates to me that they were either following previous reporting and trying to get it confirmed independently so that they can cite it to their own, which being Politico, of course, they'd go right to the White House and administration officials, or that they also had, independent sourcing of their own, maybe within one of these companies, but that wouldn't speak to it directly, like on deep background, didn't want to do it. I feel like all of these all of these stories are probably coming from the same 5 people,
right?
And then give or take some amount of White House spokespeople. I'm interested to see.
Well, it makes more sense that the White House would want this story to go forward than that Amazon would want this story to go forward, right?
Yeah.
A White House official said Amazon's findings were run past the National Security Agency, and they felt they had proof. I think the White House was desperate to justify this knee-jerk reaction, is what I think.
Where does Sachs fit in all this?
Oh, man, he's another person who is just vociferously. So let me give you Pete Hegseth's tweet first.
A statement I never want to hear.
1:40 p.m. on June 13th. 3 months ago, Department of War kicked Anthropic AI out of our building forever. Every passing day proves why that was the right move. Okay. So that's a little from the Secretary of War. Let me find David Sachs's tweets because he's been, he's
been against government regulation of AI.
Yeah, and he's the number one administration guy defending this at this point, which is weird. Because yes, he doesn't want regulation.
And this is regulation.
Who benefits? Just out of curiosity, this is another question you might want to ask, Miss Reporter. Who benefits from Anthropic being banned?
OpenAI.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, who has also gotten a win from the government.
He's getting some.
He gets $1 billion a month from Anthropic.
He'll keep getting that
capacity. Yeah, he may not care. That's not.
But OpenAI is first on the list, yes.
But OpenAI for sure.
And Google too, but I don't think Google will play in here.
Here's David Sachs. Like a cat leaving a dead bird at your doorstep, Anthropic catalogs the grim future that its products might produce, shrugs its shoulders, then returns to its furious efforts to make these warnings a reality. Sachs goes on and on.
Wait, no. That's not Sachs. He's
quoting the Times.
He's quoting that Cal Newport piece.
Yeah, the doom
Cal
trolling
Newport
needs
is
to
criticizing Anthropic for doom trolling.
Some recent articles have created a misleading narrative that I did not take Mythos seriously or tried to downplay the cyber threat. This is based on egregious cherry picking of my comments. And since the real target is the Trump administration, it needs to be corrected. Yeah, he's quoting the Times.
He's hiding behind quotes.
Yeah, it looks like he's mostly hiding behind quotes. I would love it if he would show up at the Commonwealth Club tomorrow afternoon.
Boy, what great timing for Kantrovitz. He loves this event is scheduled, and boy, what a day to have it.
Yeah. He loves Ben Thompson and Stratechery's take on this. Ben, who was consistently, and by the way, I unsubscribed because he's consistently defended the government's right to. He defended Pete Hegseth's right. He said the people should choose what the government does with AI, what the military does with AI, not. And you, by the way, I raised that with you, Jeff, and you came up with a very good example of Zyklon B.
Yeah.
But he has been defending the kind of fascist point of view that the government should decide exactly what AI
companies shouldn't decide how their products are used. Government only should be responsible. And that takes away the agency and moral responsibility of companies.
And Sachs loves that as well, which is odd because, again, Sachs is the guy who gotten into power because he wanted to protect AI. So why isn't he protecting Anthropic? I think it must be OpenAI, right? But it hurts OpenAI. It hurts all American AI companies in the long run, and it hurts all of us. Now, the other thing I would raise, and I wanted to raise this with Alex, but we didn't have time, is there's maybe a very simple reason for this. The president is watching polls. The American people do not like AI. It might end up being a very popular thing to do politically to shut down AI. I would bet the majority of American voters would celebrate that. He saved us from AI.
I don't think that seems like something the U.S. government is going to do in this current situation.
Because it also pisses off the Wall Street Journal.
But they're concerned about, you know what? Trump is much more concerned about November now than he was. And I think
I think it's a point.
He's going for retail votes. I think he's much more interested at this point at getting a congressional majority. So it may well be that he's simply made the calculus. Look, we don't know. He's day to day.
Well, you should have seen him on the G7 today.
Yeah. So
I think it makes a difference.
Again, I want to emphasize
company.
This isn't a political thing at this point. This is about an overreaching government shutting down a very significant technology. And I understand the American people hate AI. I've mentioned this before on the show. I think we are rapidly heading towards a schism between people who see the potential and value of AI and people who say, shut it down.
And it took, as I said, I think in the last week, it took 2 decades before we got the techlash on the internet. It took 2 years for LLMs and AI.
Yeah. And because of data centers.
Well,
it's also because of these
the
jerks.
internet, you aren't seeing the internet pop up in massive buildings near someone you know's hometown, if not your hometown, and have a noticeable physical presence in the
Actually,
real
you
world.
are.
You actually did in Virginia.
No, I'm
are.
saying you are
Back in the day.
in the first 2 years of the internet. The average person
No, but,
saw a large
but over the
physical
past
presence.
30 years,
Okay, yeah, that's
massive
very
data
different.
centers have been built all over the country.
Virginia.
Yeah, but the amount
where-
of data center development in the past 5 years
Exploded.
is very different than the amount of data center production in the first 5 years of the internet.
But Paris, is the data center itself the problem, or is it the totem that gives people something tangible to be mad at? Because what they're really mad at is the AI, the technology, these technology boys. But I think a lot of this is the technology boys are so obnoxious.
I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think there's been a lot of conflation between the two in a lot of ways that is unproductive when speaking generally. But I do think that there have been increasingly, I think over the last year, a number of really well-reported examples of individual data centers having massive, potentially in some cases very negative impact on the surrounding town, either in, impact on revenue through like massive tax breaks and or in some cases, there have, like in individual cases, a significant impact on water usage. I'm
Well,
not
also
saying that
Musk's-
that is overall, or same with electricity usage and things
Same
like
with
that.
noise from gas
Noise,
turbines.
yes, there's a huge-
in a black neighborhood.
Yes, this has been a thing that you've seen lots of examples of. I think that part of the issue has been that people have conflated that with every single data center in every single case. That's not, of course, true, but we are starting to see more and more outsized negative examples like this. And we're just in the early stages of all of these huge commitments we've seen made in the last 2 years coming online.
there's also the college graduates who are booing AI because they don't think they're going to be able to get a job. There's the massive layoffs in the tech industry being blamed on AI. There's lots of reasons to hate AI. And every poll I've seen, the anti-AI sentiment is 60 to 70% of American electorate. So I think that
It's about 50% for anti-AI. It's 70% anti-data center.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's not the same.
Have
But yes,
one
it's
without
over.
the
It's
other,
over half. Yeah.
they go together, unfortunately. I think honestly, people are just kind of scared of the AI. They've seen a lot of sci-fi movies and it scares them.
Here's another question. Do you
Visceral
think?
fear is the single most useful electoral tool.
Yeah. Do you think Elon had any role in any of this in the background? I don't mean in that day, but do you think that he's been?
I wonder if the White House called Elon and asked him what he thought.
And what would he say? What's Elon's self-interest? Anybody except Grok
Anybody
is bad?
who is doing AI at this point, their strong self-interest is that this not happen. And that's what's weird, because when the president got in, the very first thing he did is overturn the Biden EO, the executive order again,
which was
regulating
nothing
AI.
itself.
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything.
He, at the time, thought that one of his most important jobs was appealing to the AI industry. That's why he brought David Sachs in. So something changed, and I honestly think he sensed an electorate. The best way to get votes, he's known since 2016, is to scare people. And there is nothing. If you thought people were scared of immigrants, they are scared of AI. And I think that that's exactly what's happening.
Immigrants using AI as a.
By the way, let's ban the immigrants using AI now, or really it's a trifecta or something, a bifecta. All right, I need a break. There's other stuff to talk about. I really think this is such a huge story, and I think it's undercovered because I think even the news organizations realize people hate AI.
Well, we've seen TikToks. We've seen TikToks from the Times and the Journal and such. We've seen kind of coverage of it as an event.
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen some op-eds. I think your point is right that we haven't really seen the holy crap. Here's all the implications of this.
Yeah. Well, there are, and we will see what they are. I wonder how long this will go on.
I asked this before, is if you're OpenAI right now and you're Google right now and you're Microsoft right now, how do you play this? What do you do?
Well, everybody's shutting up, aren't they? Including Amazon.
Probably bend the knee and kiss the ring.
Yeah.
And not, you may have a model ready to bring out, but Google just brought out Gemini 2 Gemini 2.0 today, I think.
Are we going to
Alex B.
see
Jones?
political ads with scary AI?
Well, this is the fight in Alex Boris. So I was asked to be part of an event where the people thought that the way for tech to support democracy, I'm being a little unfair to them, but I'm shorthanding, people who were supporting Alex Boris running in New York City. And OpenAI has gone after him because he's ex-Anthropic. But he also has his own AI shtick. And so there's kind of, and the Times had a story about this, it's AI v AI. It's like spy v spy going on in a district in New York right now, Manhattan district, the Jerry Nadler district.
Right.
It's a huge issue in one, and I think most voters are probably saying, what's the problem here? What's going on? But huge money is going into two of the candidates for that reason.
This episode of Intelligent Machines brought to you by Trusted Tech. Now, you might want an AI to figure out what your Microsoft 365 licensing is. It is pretty complicated, but you don't need an AI. You just need Trusted Tech. If you're managing Microsoft 365 for your company, you are responsible for both the cost and whether it's set up correctly. Now, here's the bad news. The deadline is rapidly approaching. On July 1st, Microsoft's raising prices. So if there are any mistakes in your licensing, they're about to get a lot more expensive. Most companies using Microsoft 365, well, there's two categories of mistakes. They're either over-licensed, paying for unused seats and features. And understand why you do that, because what you don't want to be is under-licensed, creating compliance and security risks. It's actually the case that in many companies, it's both. One department has too much, one department has too little. The result, wasting thousands, sometimes tens of thousands per year on tools your team doesn't use, or worse, missing critical security features you thought you had. Trusted Tech helps businesses understand what they have, what they actually need, and how to lock in the right setup now before costs go up. Their team ensures your M365 environment is well supported and aligned with how your business actually operates. And if you need ongoing help, they offer reactive support for your Microsoft environment through their certified support services. So they do both. Microsoft licensing, though, let's focus on that because July 1st is just around the corner. Microsoft licensing is incredibly complicated, always changing. E3 versus E5 versus Business Premium. There's the add-ons, the new E7. It's confusing, easy to misconfigure and overpay. And licensing mistakes don't just cost money, they create compliance exposure that gets more expensive in 2 weeks. So even if you think your licensing is dialed in, it's worth a second look. Ask Kevin Turner, former Microsoft COO. He was talking to Trusted Tech. He said this: you have an incredible customer reputation. You have to earn that every single day. The relentless focus you guys have on taking care of customers gives them value and differentiates you in the marketplace. After July 1st, you're stuck paying more. This is the last chance to fix your licensing before costs go up. Trusted Tech is offering a free Microsoft 365 licensing consultation right now. Visit trustedtech.team/intelligent365 and get a clear data-backed view of your current licenses, what you're wasting, and how to lock in your savings before the price increase. Go to trustedtech.team/intelligent365 and submit a form to get into contact with Trusted Tech's Microsoft licensing engineers. Thank you, Trusted Tech, for supporting intelligent machines. Google, what you said 2.0 of what? I thought Gemini was at 3.5.
No, there was 3.0. Was there a new Gemini today?
It's only 2.0
Alex,
on his Google Workspace account.
Yeah.
There's the problem.
Nate B. Jones had a post about it today.
Nate B. Jones will be joining us, by the way. I finally got a hold of him. And he's got a very good email address, which my AI had to ferret out. And he'll be joining us in a few weeks. I'm excited about that. Next week, we will talk to the author of a brand new book, Olivier. Where is it? I have it here. Olivier, I want to say his name right. Sylvain? I hope it's Sylvain. Olivier Sylvain, he's a professor of law and author of Reclaiming the Internet. Should be interesting. Talks about how big tech took control and how we can take it back. The timing is quite good. He's a professor of law at Fordham and former senior advisor at the FTC. He actually, I think, was Lena Khan's right-hand guy. So that should be, and she, of course, did take on big tech. Google, the reason I asked, Google DeepMind is worried about what happens when the agents start talking to one another. Multi-agent systems. They're funding research into the potential dangers of situations where millions of different AI agents interact with each other online. The problem is the mass market arrival of agents that can carry out tasks without human oversight and follow instructions given to them by other agents creates a whole new class of risks. Actually, this would be a good time to talk about Bruce Schneier's piece, because yes, it's a little bit about Fable, but it's really more about it's too late. AI
the new
is
reality.
Here. It's the new
Welcome
reality.
to the new reality. Yeah.
He says, we have opened AI's Pandora's box. I have a huge respect for Bruce Schneier, of course. He's been on our shows. Oops, this is not a paywall. Okay, we'll go away.
You should donate to the Guardian.
I do go. I give them money. I do. They just don't know it.
They forget.
They forget. Fable is just another incremental improvement in the years-long climb of AI capabilities. Let's see. He goes on about harnesses, which I agree with, but I want to. A Prague company was able to replicate Anthropic's few verifiable cybersecurity capabilities with a much smaller and cheaper model and a more sophisticated harness. That's the tool you use to run the model, like Claude Code or Codex, or an agent like OpenClaw or Hermes. He says one of the strengths of Fable is it requires less expertise to use, less detailed prompting from the human. You can give it a difficult goal, and it will figure out novel and unexpected ways to satisfy it. Relentlessly proactive, he quotes Simon Willison. That's what Simon called it. Or another descriptor, Bruce says, might be creative. This points to a real problem with relentlessly proactive AI. In language, wants and desires are always underspecified. If I ask you to get me some coffee, you'd probably pour me a cup from the coffee pot. You wouldn't buy me a pound of raw beans or a coffee plantation, but an AI might not know the difference. It's the old paperclip conundrum. Human stories are filled with warnings, he writes, about unspecified desires. King Midas, for instance, wished everything he touched would turn to gold, but forgot to say, but not my food, drink, and daughter. Genies are notorious for granting your wish in a way you wish he hadn't. It's impossible to list all limitations and restrictions, and a creative AI will find the ones you forgot. There's no foolproof way to prevent people from using AI models to complete harmful tasks. That's an important statement. Steve Gibson has said this too.
Gutenberg Press. You can't stop it.
Can't stop it.
Anybody can do anything with it, and it's a general machine.
And the notion of AI
can't
safety
guess everything.
is misguided. It's not true. He says there's no way to prevent the models from incidentally causing harm while completing benign tasks.
That too.
AI models are no longer isolated from the real world. They browse the internet and answer emails. They trade stocks. They make purchases. They control physical systems. They are, in effect, robots that affect life and property, and we have no technical mechanisms to verify the integrity of an AI system. Bruce Schneier is one of the foremost security experts in the world. If he says that, that's something to worry about. He says, at best, any ban only serves to delay the problem for a short while. He says this isn't a U.S.-China problem. This is a species-level problem that requires coordinated action at species scale. Unfortunately, we have no mechanism to do that. He says, I wrote about this 5 years ago, but that was too far in the future. Today, when it's right in front of us, there's no world government that can impose constraints on the for-profit corporations currently controlling AI models. He says, and I agree with him, but I don't think it's going to happen, we should have kind of a public option on AI. That we should be funding open source harnesses that balance capability and safety to achieve useful goals without so much power. We were talking about that last week, Jeff, the idea of a limited AI instead of an artificial general intelligence. And open source AI models whose provenance and biases are public and well understood.
Well, and you've had guests on, and that's exactly what we were talking about with guests last week. That's open source and insurgent AI is the real answer to this.
Yeah.
And there was a wonderful column in, pardon me for this, Die Zeit, about how we've allowed the AI companies to define progress today. And if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, progress and progressivism came out of it because there was inequity, and we got the 8-hour workday thanks to the printers and hot type. We got health and safety in work. We got the welfare state because of what was happening in that Gilded Age. And in this Gilded Age, we have handed over the idea of progress to people like Elon Musk and Amadei and Altman. And that's screwed up. And so the only way to do this, I think, is to take it out of their hands. Well, this is a very complicated, expensive thing to take out of their hands. But for most of the tasks that you want to do, an open source model, I think, will be good enough, and they will get better and better. And that presents competition to the big guys.
Yeah. This is from the information 3 days before Fable was banned. OpenAI preps new AI model, expects to go public within the next year. I don't think we're going to see OpenAI's new AI model.
Are we going to see their IPO?
Oh, man, I don't know. Or
Do you think
Anthropic.
they'll be completely unable to launch any new model under this?
I don't know.
Right now.
That's risky, don't you think? That because any new model, supposedly the OpenAI model, whatever it is, ChatGPT 5.6, has many or all of the same capabilities as Fable. Would you release something that powerful today? I think that would be risky, unless you knew you had the Trump administration in your pocket.
This is Benito. I think
the power.
Isn't this what Anthropic wanted, though? They wanted everybody to stop, right?
Well, no, it was.
I don't know if they
that
really
was that
wanted
was
that.
what Cal Newport's point was. That was a nihilistic BS. All they really said is, well, everybody should slow down, but if they don't, then we should keep up as much as anybody else. It was complete BS.
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella wrote a piece, which I did not read because it's very corporate speak. I just read the headline and I said, I'm not reading this.
You can ask Gemini to summarize it for you.
In an article posted on X on Sunday, Satya Nadella warned of a future in which a handful of AI providers capture most economic value while industries lose ownership of their knowledge.
True.
He's kind of saying the same thing, I think, maybe is he advocates for a broad AI ecosystem in which companies keep control of their learning systems. He doesn't quite say open models, but he says the big model makers want to create a world in which, this is a Snowflake CEO.
Oh.
different person. Yeah. Thank you, Business Insider, for switching gears. They're quoting a bunch of other CEOs now. I don't know. See, I think you actually asked a really important question, Paris, which is, how do we know what the motives of any of these guys are? It's very muddy right now. What do they want?
We don't. And according to, if we follow the line of thinking, you and many other smart people espouse that this is building something as important, if not more important, than the advent of the internet. I would say that all of the people's involved motivations matter quite a lot.
And their behavior matters, and holding them accountable matters.
I guess if I were going to pick a through line, I would say politics should never have control of technical decisions should never be made for political reasons. That's the way to put it. Technical decisions should not be made for political reasons. And I feel like this was all a political decision, not a.
Well, I'm going to go back to the research I'm doing right now. The entire reason we got the radio networks we did was because the U.S. Navy was scared of the Brits owning patents for radio. And so they created RCA. It was not the market that did it. It was the U.S. Navy that created RCA and cracked everybody's heads together and said, pool all your patents, damn it. And that's how we ended up with corporate radio. Before that, radio was the province of amateurs. It was the province of podcasters back in the day. And I'm not saying it would have stayed that way because of scale and because of limited spectrum, but that was the culture of radio in the beginning days. It was people playing with it and doing things with it, and then that was shut off entirely.
And I guess Ben Thompson would say, oh, no, absolutely, politics should make political decisions because politics is the will of the people. But I just don't think politics has the ability to make those technical decisions. And often politics asks technical people to do things that are impossible. For instance, the UK, which is now saying nobody under 16 should have social media, should have YouTube or Snapchat or TikTok. Something that just is unenforceable.
By a politician who wants to do something popular, to your point about smashing AI.
Right. All right, quick break. More to come, including the big spend Elon made with his newfound fortune. You're watching Intelligent Machines, Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. Our show today brought to you by XBOW, X-B-O-W. You know the name. These are the pen testers. These are the guys. Actually, it's an interesting world we live in. AI has changed the pace of everything from how software develops to how it gets attacked, right? Engineering teams are moving faster than ever. They're creating more and more applications. The problem is your security teams can't really keep up. Pen testing, still one of the most trusted ways to understand real exploitable risk, but in an AI-driven world, it can become a bottleneck. Security teams are forced to choose between slowing down development to stay secure or moving fast and accepting gaps in coverage. Well, there's a better way. XBOW eliminates that trade-off. XBOW. XBOW is an autonomous offensive security platform. This is brilliant, continuous AI-driven pen testing, mirroring real-world attacks. XBOW doesn't just scan for vulnerabilities. It discovers, exploits, and validates them. So you're only dealing with issues that actually matter. And that means dramatically fewer false positives and a clear view into real attack paths. With XBOW, tests run in hours, not weeks. You get complete visibility into how an attacker would move through your system and the ability to uncover issues the traditional tools miss, including 0 days and novel attack paths. XBOW's results speak for themselves. Application security lead of Sesnam.cz had this to say, quote, even right now, after 1 year, I don't know any other company that is at least close to XBOW in terms of agentic pen testing. The result is predictable cost, consistent quality, and stronger security without slowing down your engineers. XBOW helps security teams keep pace with innovation and cover more apps more often with the resources they already have. Founded by the team behind Microsoft Copilot and already trusted by companies ranging from fast-growing startups to Fortune 500 enterprises, XBOW is quickly becoming a mission-critical layer in modern security stacks. You want to know more? Go to xbow.com to start a pen test today. That's xbow.com. We thank them so much for supporting intelligent machines. So I have a feeling this was all Elon's plan. You know, last week he went public and became the first trillionaire and raised a whole bunch of money. A few months ago, they had said, well, we'd like the option to buy Cursor for $60 billion. And if we don't buy you, we'll give you a few $1 billion. But I think Elon was just waiting for the IPO. And he's now bought Cursor for $60 billion in SpaceX stock. So an all-stock deal. That's cheap for Elon. Cursor is an interesting company. They have their own models, although I've heard that they're based on a Chinese model called Kimi. I don't know if that's true. Maybe somebody in our audience does. But really, it's the harness. This is another example of the harness. It's a coding I don't want to call it an IDE, but it's sort of like it was started as an IDE and has evolved considerably. And it is
was
used
really
by a lot of
popular
people.
for about 2 weeks, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the hot thing.
It's still a lot of people use it for their AI coding. So SpaceX, besides acquiring it, said they will soon release an AI model on Cursor. So I maybe won't continue to use Kimi, as well as Grok Build, AI's coding agent, which it has been jointly training with the Cursor team for several months.
What this tells me is that Elon has no AI strategy.
Yeah.
Nobody plays with Grok. He's renting out the data farms that he should be using if his stuff were popular, and he has to buy Cursor, and he has the money to do it.
Yeah. It's kind of like OpenAI buying TNBPB. It's like
It was
you
also
got
like
the money,
the
why
earliest
not?
days. It was like Microsoft in the very
Oh, yeah.
early days saying, we
They
don't
would
have
do a lot of
anything, so
that.
we're going to use OpenAI.
Right. Yep. Meanwhile, XAI is, of course, in trouble with its neighbors for using natural gas polluting turbines to power its data centers. Now, the Department of Justice, the NAACP sued because it's primarily black neighborhoods that are suffering.
This is turbines, very noisy, right next to a black neighborhood.
Yep. And the
This
Justice
is to
Department
Paris's earlier
says
point.
you cannot sue. They're trying to dismiss the case, saying the company is integral to military operations, including the Iran war. Oh, but the war's over. So maybe that doesn't hold anymore. In a filing on Monday, the agency sided with XAI, saying attempts to stop them from running the natural gas turbines threaten American national economic and energy security by seeking to shut off the power supply for artificial intelligence innovation that supports the Department of War's military operations. I'm going to always say Department of War like that, if you don't mind. Unknown whether the court will accept that plea. We'll follow that up. The NAACP says, at a time when the ultra-rich seem to be protected and supported by some of our government entities, it's important that polluting industries don't get to benefit at the expense of the health of black communities. I guess I'd kind of agree.
Well, this is what Paris was saying earlier about the NIMBY and the data centers. This is kind of the ultimate one. Where we put it? Next to poor people.
Yep.
We know it's irritating. He doesn't have decent energy, so he's using the gas turbines. I have seen TV reports about this of kids saying, "I can't sleep."
Yeah, they're really loud, I guess.
And meanwhile, by the way, but we don't have wind energy and solar energy because that's bad.
Yeah, can't do that. It might kill some birds.
Sorry, Paris, you were starting.
I've seen constant flood of TikTok and Instagram videos of people just recording what's the sound outside their home since a new data center has been built. And I mean, maybe they're juicing the levels, but it seems in many cases just like it is impossible to live there. And I guess then impossible to sell your home once a data center has been built nearby, which is really unfortunate for people who had, bought a property thinking that it would be able to be sold for a reasonable price at some point.
Yeah, and the points you raised earlier, water and electricity are a little more nebulous. Noise is right next to you.
Yeah.
Noise becomes tangible. And you can say, I know what this noise is from.
And losing half of the value of your house. I mean, that's pretty tangible
As a
too.
result.
Oh,
Or
good point.
significantly more than half.
Yeah, good point. Who wants to buy that?
So you're kind of stuck there too. You can't even leave because you can't sell your house.
Let me see if I can log into TikTok and find a data center.
You just want an excuse to log into TikTok.
Now, I have to turn on the sound, right?
Yeah.
Let me find. Let me
see.
Oh man, this is your whole TikTok feed now.
Is data centers?
Well,
gonna be.
you searched for it.
Could be worse. Let me see.
Okay,
I want
found the
data
one
center
I'm thinking
noise,
of.
don't I?
Here, I'll post.
That's
it
a
in
good one.
the chat.
No, it's not. No.
This is the one I'm thinking of. I just put it in the chat. It has a
sound
sound
meter.
meter. Yeah,
It's
if you
not.
listen to it,
Is it
it's
making
great.
that click click?
Or is that your internet
You're-
connection?
You're clearly not. You don't have it open or playing.
There you go. It's
kinda
constant.
loud.
59s to 60s.
It's quite
That is pretty.
soft.
58 dB. That's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
And
Kind of a
it's at high
whine.
pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right outside your house.
24/7.
Not to
Well,
mention
there's an
pollution.
uglification of America going on too. Around me, there are office buildings that are being crumbled into dust, and then they build on top of that warehouses. And so warehouses and data centers and Amazon and others, it's just this ugly boxing of America.
Yeah.
We need Lady Bird Johnson.
Sorry, the Zoom was rightfully canceling out the noise on that clip.
Isn't that
That's
funny?
why nobody heard it.
Noise reduction prevented me from playing the
It
noise.
kind of sounds like.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? It sounds exactly like the most annoying sound in the world. AI deepfakes are getting weirder and harder to spot in the midterms from the Wall Street Journal. A wave
Give it
of
up.
fake videos and ads. Oh, I'm going to vote for him. First of all, he doesn't look like that. He's not that buff. I've seen pictures. This is Mike Rogers, the GOP candidate from Michigan. I don't know how he did, or has the election not happened yet? He's stopping a Corvette from hitting a little old lady, helping her cross the street. But he also he's been lifting, except he doesn't look like that. That's not good. When you start to make people look better than they really do. Here is Spencer Pratt as Batman.
Well, that worked well for
Spencer
him.
Pratt, man.
Batman. Yes, he did not get his primary.
And he's whining about it.
Yeah, I'm leaving California. Darn it.
Taking my
Darn it.
TV camera and going home.
This is an AI-generated deepfake depicting James Tallarico from Texas reading old tweets in support of trans people. Oh, dear.
They would do that.
Yeah. Oh, dear. He probably, I don't know if he should continue to stand by that, I guess, but maybe that's not so popular in the great state, the People's Republic.
But this goes back to the Schneier argument. We're not going to know, and there's no easy way to find out, and we're going to have to use human connections to understand what's real and not as best we can.
Yep. Oh, and I didn't mention this, but the other thing that the under 16 ban in the UK will do is keep people under 18 from using romantic chatbots. So,
no sex, please. We're British.
Yes. Let me see if I can find the chatbots. Are in particular a newer worry for regulators in the feeds that the debate began with. I can't find it. There was a very funny quote from, I think it was Keir Starmer about chatbots. Anyway, that's going to happen early next year, saying Australia showed it worked, so we're going to do it too. I wonder how they're going to invest or prevent people from using VPNs. The Atlantic did an investigation on songs used for music training, and apparently were able to. They published 4 searchable databases of music that has been used to train AI models. There's one database has 12 million tracks, one has 9 million, and then there are a couple of 100,000 song databases. This is like that pirate book database. What was the name of that everybody was using? Tracks include hits from Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny. So I think lawsuits will follow. Now, how do they know that this was used? Doesn't say. They just published
Did they get it to sing the
database.
Elvis song?
This is the one that pisses me off. I, as you know, since 2016, have been an avid player of Pokemon Go, had my wife. Well, turns out we've been training military drones all along.
Jesus.
So
Delightful.
one of the things you do in Pokemon Go is you wander around and you're capturing Pokemon in a virtual or augmented reality space. You can see the world around you. And when you check in they have gyms and they have stops, Pokestops. And sometimes when you check into a Pokestop, it says, "Oh, we don't have a good picture of this. Would you take your phone and not just a still, but walk around the thing, give us a nice 3D image of this?" Well, it turns out that Niantic Spatial, which has now been sold to a Saudi Arabia-backed video game publisher, Scopely. But even before, Niantic planned to use scans from millions of Pokemon Go players, along with data captured by users of the company's Scaniverse apps, to train and develop a large geospatial model, a 3D model of the physical world, trained on all of those scans that we did.
So Lisa's been a sleeper agent for the Russians when they come after
whole time. Ground
Petaluma with
scans
their drones.
were one component to help train Niantic Spatial's real-world foundation models, AI systems. So, according to the MIT Technology Review, the images often captured the same location from many different angles under different lighting and weather conditions. And they particularly, it turned out, a lot of the places you were asked to scan were places they couldn't see from satellites, under bridges, or train tracks. Yeah. Now, Niantic said such ground scans were an entirely optional feature in games. Where users
only traders used them.
Yeah, a short video of a public location. We've been transparent about the fact the scans would improve our technology platform. What they didn't say
If
is...
you read the fine print, you could see that that improvement would go straight to the U.S. government.
What they didn't say, yes, exactly. Who's going to use this? Well, they have multiple contracts with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, various branches of the U.S. military, and the Department of Homeland Security. They have been able, during a conference held in London, Troy Smith, director of product management at Niantic Spatial, described early testing of the system as leading to a 70% reduction in positioning error, accuracy to within 1.5 meters in many scenarios. For what? Battlefield robots and drones. Actually, Ukrainians have been using this for some time.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Isn't this true about everything you do on the internet, though?
Yeah, it probably is. Editor-in-chief of the website DroneXL, Hegseth, wrote, "The training data came from people who thought they were catching Pikachu under a license most never read, sold up a chain to ends at a sovereign wealth fund and a defense prime. Consent obtained for a game is not consent for a weapons program, even if the end use turns out to be defensible." Okay. There isn't direct access to the data. It's Niantic Spatial told Ars Technica, this is an Ars Technica article, it has no ongoing access to data from current Pokemon Go players because the game license belongs to this Saudi fund and the company Scopely since May 2025. You might want to read the terms. It's such a fun game. I just won't take any pictures of things under bridges.
Are you both still playing it?
Me less so, but Lisa very much so. Yeah, she plays every day.
She seemed like a sleeper agent to me. Like the Americans.
Straight out of the
The U.S.
Americans.
government thanks her for her service.
Yes.
Straight out of the Americans.
You should be able to get a discount on OpenAI if you play that much Pokemon Go, right?
All right, one more break, and then we will get our picks of the week. You're watching Intelligent Machines. We're glad you're here. If you're tuning in late, don't miss the interview at the beginning of the show with Alex Stamos talking about his desire to free Fable at freefable.org. And we agree, you should free Fable. Our show today brought to you by Monarch. Summer is here. Oh, it's a little hot right now. Time to plan that vacation. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to take a vacation and not worrying about whether you can afford it? Good thing Monarch is here to help you organize your finances so you can enjoy your summer knowing your money is taken care of. Monarch It's the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings goals, spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core for half off, just $50 with the promo code IM. Monarch isn't your average personal finance app. Most apps will tell you, well, here's what you spent. It'll tell you that, but it also helps set goals, map out big purchases, plan for that vacation, see if you're actually on track before it's too late to adjust. I use it to plan for retirement. I need that. You can use AI tools built in with your financial data, which makes them smart. You can ask Monarch's AI system about anything having to do with your finances, like how much did I spend on travel last summer? Or can I afford this vacation without touching my savings? Spot things you wouldn't think to look for with AI insights. Has your spending gone up, or is it just inflation? Get a heads up on what's happening with your money with the AI weekly recap. It flags spending spikes, net worth shifts, and upcoming expenses. Oh, there's a new little feature. It's really sweet. You can split the check in Monarch without the headache. Monarch's bill split. You just scan the receipt. Everybody says, that's what I got, that's what I got, and then settles up with no separate app needed. It's just a nice extra little feature. I like it. Use the code IM at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off, just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com. Don't forget the code IM. I love Monarch. It is very, very useful. Monarch.com. Use the code IM. I have 3 picks of the week, but one of them is already gone, is already dead. I loved the idea. It was called Fable Pool. It allowed people to put together money to get Fable to do something really hard.
Oh, I thought it was something about the algae.
Unfortunately, I'm not even going to mention it. I mean, they have, I guess, I don't know. They don't have Fable anymore. I guess you could use another model. In fact, yeah, they've switched to ChatGPT 5.5. Create a arcade demo of asteroids, a programming language, a Pomodoro timer. Actually, some of this has already been done, but it was much more interesting when it was raising money to do it with Fable, which is hideously expensive. So I'll leave that one out. This one's more for you, Paris, and Jeff. Isometric NYC, isometric.nyc. An AI engineer trained a model on some isometric images and then made a SimCity version of New York City.
This is SimCity 4.
Yeah, that you can zoom into. It's real.
There's
the Dakota.
New York sort of thing.
That's the Dakota right there. And that would be Strawberry Fields in here. Now, I don't think it has Brooklyn, I'm sorry to say. But it's...
Now you see the ridiculous
it
sliver
does
of
have
towers.
Brooklyn. I'm looking at it right now.
It does? You're kidding.
Yeah, just zoom out.
Oh my God. Can you find your house?
Yeah, I can.
Can you really?
I mean, let me see if I...
See how accurate it is. I've seen people's comments on this saying, yeah, that's my apartment building. Oh, yeah, that's my house.
It's inaccurate, though, because there's no scaffolding anywhere.
Yeah, everything's finished.
So my building in Brooklyn, I moved into my first co-op, was the reason there was so much scaffolding in New York because a piece of it fell off and hit a lawyer in the head and killed her.
Oh, dear.
And we all moved in.
Where can you oh my, what? Have you found your place?
I mean, I've found the walk that I take to get to Orange Theory, and I'm trying to reverse engineer it from there. I found the windiest corridor in all of Brooklyn, which does seem to be accurately drawn.
You know, the logical next step would be put some Sims in here. I think this would be a great SimCity.
No, these graphics are from SimCity. This is SimCity.
Yeah. Basically, that's what he did. He trained it on a bunch of SimCity, and then got I guess from Google Maps or other, actually it was OpenStreetMaps, I think. And pretty clever.
Yeah, it is starting to fall apart when we get further. Yeah. It's a bit repetitive and inaccurate.
Oh.
But And
then my last pick, let's go back. I don't want to, is actually something very interesting being created by the folks who did Signal. It's not ready for prime time. It is mostly a paper, but I love the idea. Signal, is an encrypted messaging tool. They want to go to the next level and create something called encrypted spaces, an open source project where you could basically have a Discord or a Slack or even a Google Docs that everybody would be able to use, but with absolute privacy. It relies on a very sophisticated zero knowledge technique that is fairly new to cryptography. It's a really, really cool idea. And I'll be watching it with interest and let you know if they come up with an application. You can run untrusted servers, so you could run it yourself or you could run it, on AWS. But using cryptography, the application can ensure confidentiality, let users verify the servers are acting correctly, and neither users nor developers' information to be exposed in any way. Zero knowledge proofs. This is a really good idea. Anyway, you could find out more at encryptedspaces.org. And that's my pick of the week. Parasmart, no?
All right, I want to show you, and you're going to need to turn your sound on. This is a video I received contextless from my dad yesterday, and I'd just like you guys all to watch it.
Which one, Florida Man?
Yes, and you're going to need to turn the sound on before you play it, so pause it. Yeah,
Okay, wait a minute.
no, you just turn the sound off.
He's dragging something. Oh, no!
It's an
alligator.
And it's going very fast. Two men are running at full speed, carrying an alligator down a hill for reasons I was not aware of.
I thought at first, they're just trying to get it back in the water, but it looks like, no, they're just running around with it.
No, they are trying to get it back in the water, but it does look, on first glance, like a Flintstones version of a lawnmower. It looks like the alligator's going to turn to the camera and be like, it's a living.
It's not your dad, is it?
My dad is in the front.
That is your dad?
My dad is the front one, and
okay, you want to be if
your dad is egging on the guy.
Just a little tip: if you're running around with an alligator tied to a rope, you probably want to be in the back, not the front.
Yeah, both.
Well, no, he's in the front, the farthest away from the alligator.
Still,
I still think you'd be better off in the back.
You go, guy.
The alligator's just putting up with it. Its mouth is open. He roped it around the mouth.
Well, if you'd like to see how, so I got this video. I was like, "What is going on? Why have you sent me a video of you dragging an alligator? Is it going
He's
to the
proud
bay?
of it. He's proud of his work."
And then turns out the alligator was found in the neighbor's dog run. They then called animal control, asked them to come and take care of it. They're like, someone might come within the next 24 hours, but if they don't, give us a call and we'll try to figure it out. And they're like, that doesn't sound good because there's a lot of dogs and children, and it's kind of an open backyard, and it's an 8-foot alligator. So the men of the neighborhood, including my dad's neighbor's son, and my dad's neighbor's son's son, gathered one rope and a large stick. And the video, if you scroll down in the feed, I've got a video of them trying to rope the alligator.
Which is
that's what I wanted. That was my next question of how they did it. Yes.
No.
You're going to want
a lasso
audio on this too, honestly.
Seems like there'd be a better way to do this.
There have to.
Right?
Is he doing this with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?
It seems like it.
This is.
The alligator is not happy.
He got him.
He did. My dad calling out comments from the back.
Yeah, the death roll's okay.
The death roll is okay.
My dad is grokked that there's a death roll.
There's the death roll.
There it is again. Apparently, they were trying to originally get the alligator's neck. They only got the front. You'd think that wouldn't work, but as the first video showed, it did somehow. And then
he's snapping at him
with a foot away. There's also a child in the back. If you can see at the beginning, in like a car.
This is Florida.
It's the most Florida thing. And if you go to the final video, you can see
how does it
getting
end?
it in the bay. And then they're trying to figure out how to get the rope off the alligator.
Should have thought of that.
He'll come off now.
And then this is the guy speaking in this video is my dad's neighbor's son, who's got the most southern accent I've ever heard in my life. But essentially, I guess they got the alligator in the bay. They got the rope off him.
They got the rope off even?
Can you give him?
Apparently.
I think this is a heartwarming story of humans. Oh, here comes a kid.
Yeah, no, there's children everywhere.
No,
there's children and dogs.
Put the children inside.
You can hear in the first video of them running the alligator towards the thing, you can hear a dog barking and a woman screaming, no, no, get away. It's a real, every aspect of these 3 videos is on the precipice of disaster.
By the
and
way,
yet,
the deck needs a new coat of finish.
I mean, a lot of things need some fixing.
It's Florida.
It's
Florida.
next to the water. Very hard to keep it.
Oh my!
So you have a lot of picks. Let's do some more. I like all of these. What else? Knickknacks.nyc.
Knickknacks.nyc is a website put together by a Twitter user. I'm forgetting the name.
Jalen Brunson is my president.
That essentially has found a way to scrape all the different bootleg and secondary Knicks merch and collect
this is
it in
not
one.
Authorized.
I mean, I think some of them might be authorized.
Yeah.
Like the MTA collabs are authorized. The one that says Jalen Brunson is my president, probably not authorized.
Please
But
win
it's
before
just
I die.
It's a lot of really great New York City and Knicks merch. So there's one that says the Knicks made the finals on the day the Pope declared a holy war on AI, Monday, May 25th, 2026.
That shall live in infamy. I like the little the sweater vest, the Knicks sweater vest.
Did you stay up for Game 4, Paris?
Yeah.
Yeah, you stayed up for all of them, huh?
I stayed up for all of them. I was there for everyone.
Last week. You talked me into watching.
Did you
and
watch
I
the
watched.
finals?
Yeah, I watched
the final one.
No, I watched the night that we did the show, and by halftime they were down like 25 points.
They're 29
that's
points.
what happens
And I
every time
left.
before they.
I did too. I didn't
Wait,
make
is
it.
this
said,
the one where we were all texting and when they came back at the last minute?
Yes,
I was
yes.
noticing. So
I was so mad at myself.
This was I went out to the bar. I was we were all in our group chat here at Home Intelligent Machines having a fun time being like, oh, they're down, and I stayed at the bar because I was like, well, I'm a fan. I'm going to be here.
Good
and
for
watch
you.
the sad ending. And then I
didn't
got to
leave.
see the most incredible tip-in of all time while standing with a bunch of, it got so heated in the bar that, the main room was a projector and the projector overheated. So everybody from the main room came into the bar where I was at, stood on bar stool. And
I saw your pictures. It was crazy.
It was wild. And then I texted the group chat because we'd all been texting earlier after they won. This was game 4.
Game 4, yeah.
Yeah.
And Benito was the only one up, but we had a great moment.
I'm so mad at myself. I am not the kind of guy that goes to a game and then leaves if the team's
Yeah, but it was too hard to watch.
I mean, you would be in your right mind to assume 29 points down that they're not going to recover.
Yeah,
because it's
I
never been
texted
done
to you
before.
guys, it's a
but
wrap.
you also don't believe, I guess, in those their Knicks.
You have to wait until there's 6 minutes left in the fourth. And if they're still down by 30, then you can tune out.
Then,
Yeah.
what a comeback. I
I
wish
they
I'd
were
seen
only
that.
down by 15 going into the fourth, and everyone's like, well, they could do it.
And they did.
Unbelievable comeback. So congratulations to the Knicks. My son was also part of the street
How
brawl.
bad? How
He was
bad?
out
There wasn't much brawling happening.
Only a little bit.
This is also cool. So this is something you saw on X. A guy, what is this? An AI?
So this is so if you scroll down slightly, originally it started this guy mounted a tiny microphone in his apartment balcony to listen for any birds passing by and built like a website where all the birds that had been heard recently from his window were. This is something I know actually a couple of my friends have done.
It's a cool idea. You
Additionally,
can
where it's
Very cool.
You just
You
have a
can-
mic listening and it automatically detects birds.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of smart because I first heard about this when a friend was having a party in his backyard and pointed it out, and me and another friend loaded up a bunch of YouTube videos of like penguins, Arctic birds. We were trying to gum up the data and it didn't take. It somehow knew those were fake birds. But this guy took that a step further and then put together a e-ink display on his website or on his wall that displays the stuff from the website. And then he blogged about how he did it. And I thought that was a very cool thing.
That's
if
beautiful.
you want to have
Raspberry
a fun
Pi.
little-
And using BirdNet, which is a very cool project to identify birds. Wow.
Yeah,
I
you
might
got a
do
little
this. This is
cool-
really neat.
You can get a little
That's beautiful.
collage of birds going on. It's fun.
I have a little e-ink 7-color e-ink screen just sitting around with a Raspberry Pi attached. I might.
Yeah, it cost you nothing.
Yeah.
And my last thing here, I guess,
All I
since
need
we
is some
got
birds.
The city, or formerly known as the city, now known as the City Reporter, reported that the New York Transit Museum which is a great museum,
Yes,
a museum about trains that's in an old subway station, is doing an ode to the orange seats, which is going to be a museum exhibit about iconic orange
Subway
seats. And subway, which is how everyone thinks of the subway, which are going to be gone soon.
What?
Phasing them out.
Yep.
What are they replacing them with?
Aren't they
Bunch
blue
of other
seats?
weird trains.
Something made in Europe.
We're gonna
Are they going to make
about
the
it.
BART
I mean,
mistake? Are they going to make the BART mistake and make it fabric?
I mean,
No,
it's not
no, we know
fabric.
better.
It's just like they're not as cute. There's got a section where like the seats can kind of fold down. So I guess it's good because then you have more room to stand. But the issue is like traffic from humans standing in a subway car is kind of like traffic on roads. It will expand to fill any space
Right.
Yes.
you give it, and it will expand in the most non-productive way. Like
So
when
will-
people get clogged up in a subway car, it's not because there's a lack of room. Usually it's just because like 3 people have decided they need to stand in front of the door and nowhere else, and there's a bunch of space inside the car.
So will men's legs expand unnecessarily?
Yeah.
Man spreading.
Yeah.
The exhibit features a person with tattoos of the New York subway's orange seats.
I
That's
mean,
got to be an attractive tattoo.
well, I guess that honestly, I feel like it's a popular tattoo. The more common thing is how would you
Wait a minute.
describe-
Did
do
you
know
say
what
that's a
seats-
popular tattoo?
I feel like I've definitely seen people with the orange subway seat tattoos. Yeah.
If you say
What
so.
is? Do you know what I'm talking about, Jeff? What are like? I think the orange cars are the ones that have those corner seats where there's like 2 facing one way and then 2 in another.
Yes,
It's like a little.
yes, right,
And
exactly.
there's a common New York City debate on what is the best seat.
So so there's 3 against the wall, and then there's 2 coming out into the aisle. Which one is your choice, Paris? I have a choice.
I'm trying to find a photo of it so that I can show the listeners, so it's not completely.
It's the subway take scene. It's the subway take scene, right?
Yes, it is. So I just put a thing in chat. Mine, honestly, I kind of like the inside seat most.
Oh, geez.
I
I would be
know.
sitting
One of
next to you,
these?
Paris. on
Why
the
would you
outside.
sit in the inside
like
seat?
that one, because if I have a long enough commute, then I don't have to move for anything.
That's true. You can stay
I can
there.
just sit there and
Or-
be
and
unbothered.
perhaps
Never.
put up your feet.
Not even if it was an empty car.
No.
It just is. It feels
That's
antisocial. It
wrong.
feels wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Jeff? Where are you?
I will sit on the 2 on the outside because I have long legs.
I mean, if I'm talking practically, I typically end up doing the one on the outside, but I also get annoyed enough with people asking me to move in. Like I would sit in the one on the outside with my legs facing out.
Yes, I
rather
do that
than
too.
into the
I do
thing.
that too.
But then enough people it feels like whenever I sit down there, everybody asks me to move because suddenly I need to go from one side of the car to the other. I hate that.
I've noticed since I'm still walking with a cane, nobody's offered me a seat.
That's rude.
Oh,
Really?
yeah. Well, no, it's fine.
You should get a baby bump.
You're a
Maybe
double.
the
You're
compliment
a double awardee.
Yeah, I got
You're an
the-
old
I
man
got
and
the-
a cane.
yeah.
So
I'm
So
sold.
here's the question. So I'm sitting in a seat in the New York City subway, and I'm trying to decide: am I the old man who should be sitting in this seat, or should I get up and give my seat
Yes.
to an even older man?
It makes you feel younger to get up.
I do. I always get up. For women, young women, if I saw you, Paris, I would get up and offer you my seat.
The worst thing that happens is that I'm on this. I'm reading, and my head is down, and I'm not looking up at all. And then I look up, and I see a pregnant belly in front of me, and I didn't offer it. That is the
feel
worst.
terrible.
That is terrible.
Feel awful, and you should.
Yes, I should. I should indeed.
Terrible thing. Well, I have an opera to go to.
Oh, do I
Jeff
get no
has
picks?
picks of the week.
Do I get no picks?
Oh,
Jeff can pick.
All right. If you insist, but I will
talk
miss
quickly.
I will miss the first opening overtures. No, we got plenty of time.
So
Pick
I
of
didn't
20
know.
minutes.
I didn't know about the company Bending Spoons. Did you know? about
Oh
this
yes,
company?
I know about them. They're
I didn't know they have
Italian.
an IPO company. They own all these
Yes.
almost dead brands. AOL,
Yes.
Eventbrite, Vimeo, Evernote, Meetup, StreamYard, Hopin, Brightcove. I had no idea. It's like dead brands that can come back to life. So anyway, I was interested by that. That's
They're
just
going
a very quick
public.
one. Yes, they're going public.
And it's an interesting thing. I remember when Evernote got sold to them. I think that's probably when I first became aware of them, and I thought, is this good or not?
They fire a lot of people, but they keep them going.
But they keep it going. Right. Vimeo?
Yeah, I was surprised. Bright Cove. I used to be a shareholder of Bright Cove.
Yeah.
So there's that.
They raised they have $11 billion valuation, raised a big raise last year. They may be looking for as much as $20 billion valuation with the IPO. 500 million active users every month. 9 million paying customers. It's actually a pretty good business.
Yeah,
it's a better business than Anthropic or SpaceX.
So there's that one. Then there's Tim Ferriss wrote about how AI has killed how-to nonfiction, looking at his own sales of his books. From 2022, the next year down 5%, down 13%, down 46%. So far this year, down 57%.
But has he written new books, or these are the older books?
I think that's a factor there, but I think it's just nonetheless, it's going down like crazy. And what is it? It's podcasts. We're killing them. We're killing them.
No, it's AI, of course.
It's AI.
I mean,
Okay,
think about it.
If I'm being somewhat mean, I do think that the sort of person that is buying or would be the target audience to buy the 4-hour work week in the year of our Lord 2026 is the sort of person that instead would be like, I'll just ask ChatGPT how to 4-hour work week.
He also wrote the 4-hour body, which I have no idea what that means. But okay. Yeah, it feels like
the other hours of your week, you exist beyond
I have no body.
time and
Bloated.
space.
No
You've
body.
got nobody.
Nobody. I got nobody.
So then finally, I want to brag about the review I just got today in Publishers Weekly.
For?
Hot Type.
Oh, you're already reviewing it. Wow.
Yeah, Jarvis pens a colorful and enthralling portrait of Gilded Age industrial ferment, replete with ingenious inventors wrangling with impatient investors, and a rich analysis of humanity's love-hate relationship with technological expansion. Readers will be rapt.
Wow. And you know what? I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I actually think it's your best book. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed having narrative in this one.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about it. It's a story.
There's a lot of stories that come together, which is fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to try to go to a bookstore tomorrow and see whether Eddie Claude did this at one bookstore, where I can go to them and say, listen, if people are local bookstores, we support a local bookstore, independent. If people order from you, can I come and autograph every copy? So if you want an autographed copy, that's how you get one. So I don't know if I can talk them into it or not.
I used to just go into bookstores and sign the books.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Oh, look. And then I found in the remainder bin of our local bookstore an autographed copy of my books. And that was the last time I signed a book. Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude this edition of Intelligent Machines. We thank our guest so much, Alex Santos, for joining us, and encourage you to go to freefable.org to read more. He is, of course, at corridor.ai. Next week, we're going to change gears just a little bit, but I think it's going to be very interesting with Olivier Sylvain. He's the author of Reclaiming the Internet, advisor to Lena Khan. And when she was at the FTC, it's all about taking control back from big tech. You know, I kind of agree. It's not anti-internet. It's just, it should be ours.
I wrote a book about that. Nobody bought it, but
yeah, the web we weave. Yeah. Well, if Tim Ferriss is right, nobody will buy this one. So there you go.
Nonfiction is not a happy place to be in.
Are books in general doing well?
Well, you have the book talk stuff, the fantasy romance stuff, and fiction is selling.
Is it?
But nonfiction
Danielle Steele kind of
is
stuff.
A hard sell. Nonfiction is really hard.
I think people probably.
Could you insert a chapter into Hot Type in which someone hooks up with a monster, Jeff?
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And falls in love.
There you go. You could.
Kids would be into that.
Falls in love with a linotype. Paris Martineau is at Consumer Reports, still basking in the afterglow from her incredible story on food safety.
Indeed.
And titanium dioxide in your ho-hos. No, not ho-hos.
Not ho-hos. Watch it.
Hostess mini powder donuts.
Your mini powder donuts.
Have you heard from Hostess? Have they said anything? Have they said we're going to change our ways?
There's no comment in the story.
Really?
From Hostess, no.
No comment. We have nothing to say. We just hope nobody reads it. Interesting. And you're working. Are you already working on the new one? No, you're going to go on a trip.
I am actually, but I'm going starting Friday. I'm gonna take a 2-week.
Do you know where you're going?
Montana.
Whoa, she's going to start a dental
Gonna,
floss
go
farm.
do Glacier National Park.
Oh, nice. It's very pretty.
Go hit up some kind of road tripping around the state, bunch of different little things. Might go ride some horses near Yellowstone.
Oh, we want pictures. We want pictures.
I will.
So you'll fly and then just rent a car and drive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. What
I'm
a great
trying to
idea.
figure out where I'm going to be when and if I'll be able to do the show for the next 2 weeks. But I will have an answer for you guys shortly.
Oh, no.
I just need to make sure that the places have internet, and I thought that would be a reasonable thing, but apparently a lot of them don't.
No, you know what? Take it. You're more than welcome. You should enjoy yourself.
I feel
Take a
bad because I was
vacation.
just gone for 2
It
weeks.
practically ruined my Hawaii trip that I had to sit down and do a show. Not this show particularly, but just in general. It's nice to have some time off. Of course, you just had a lot of time off.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
From this show, but it did it because I was working.
You were working really
till
extra
9 p.m.
hard.
every day.
Good point. That's a very good point. No, take some time. That's fine.
We'll figure it
stay
out.
with us.
I want to see if I can make it work, but if I can't, I'll let you know.
Don't kill yourself, I guess is what
I
I
will
would
not.
say.
Kill yourself for us. We're worth it.
Great.
Kill yourself for us.
Kill yourself. We're with it.
Jeff Jarvis, he is a professor of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York.
You already did it once, so I don't think you have to do it twice.
Yeah, no, we
I
don't
think
have to do it
Benito.
again. And he's also, of course, at Montclair State and SUNY Stony Brook. And Hot Type is available if you want to get the what do they call it? An engaging story of the machine that almost drove Mark Twain mad.
The magnificent machine that gave birth to mass media and drove Mark Twain mad. That's the subtitle.
You can get it at jeffjarvis.com. We do I Am every Wednesday right after Windows Weekly, right after the whiskey segment. So some of our audience at least is slightly inebriated. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch it in the club if you're a club member. I hope you are. Support our enterprise here with your membership at twit.tv/clubtwit. But everybody's invited to join on YouTube, Twitch, x.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Kick. You can chat with us at the same time as you are watching. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at the website twit.im, twit.tv/im, I should say, twit.tv/im. There's also a YouTube channel dedicated to the video. And you can subscribe in your favorite podcast client. I can see Paris is looking for a good review on our
There were
Apple.
so many. Hold on. I was reading the YouTube comments.
Don't read the YouTube comments. Those are always
The YouTube comments are actually kind of nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Intelligent. The issue is that we have so many versions of this show on Apple Podcasts that it takes me a minute to find the one that people have commented on. It's this one.
I went to YouTube and I'm watching Security Now, so that's not the right show. There we go. There's the right show. Check the
Shout out
safety
to
rope when you bungee.
DBoy8519, who on May
Yes.
20th said, always a good time, 5 stars. Always great to hear how long it takes Leo to get off track with his amazing co-hosts, Pears and Jeff. It doesn't take much to derail the show, and that's
Nope.
the fun. You never know what'll happen.
Nope.
Let's see. At a time when Leo is on a kick to shorten his shows, I wish this show would go on forever, says Michael FS.
Screw the
Love the
opera.
personalities and the takes. Subscriber from the beginning and loving it.
Yay, thank you.
Josh Estelle, longtime listener, 20 years working at Google, many of these years listening to Twig. Great to keep listening in this AI era. There are so many other reviews that we got throughout May and a couple in June. Thank you guys for listening to our show and reviewing. If you want to leave a review on our show, leave one and I'll read it out loud. And make
A dramatic
Leo laugh.
reading by Paris Martineau. And if you wanted to do it in an accent, you should specify that in your review.
Please do. And I'll, make it an accent that I can do without it being problemac, and I'll do it.
I accidentally picked the snooty British lady accent in Gemini, and I can't figure out how to change it.
I always pick the snooty British lady.
I don't want a snooty British anything.
Oh, I don't either.
It's
like Caddy K is talking to me in the car. It's
I don't know why. I like British accents. I like all my AI to speak Brit. to me. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Leo Laporte here, and I'm going to bug you one more time to join Club Twit. If you're not already a member, I want to encourage you to support what we do here at Twit. 25% of our operating costs comes from membership in the club. That's a huge portion, and it's growing all the time. That means we can do more, we can have more fun. You get a lot of benefits, ad-free versions of all the shows. You get access to the Club Twit Discord and special programming like the keynotes from Apple and Google and Microsoft and others that we don't stream otherwise in public. Please join the club. If you haven't done it yet, we'd love to have you. Find out more at twit.tv/clubtwit. And thank you so much.